Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver 8 last year, 106 receptions, 146 targets, 1,160 yards, 9 touchdowns, an average of 9.1 targets per game. Thoughts on Amon-Ra?
This guy's so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is so fun to watch, and it's been really cool. 15, 16 rounds from that spot where I had to end up drafting him, and he showed out. Wide
Mm-hmm.
receiver 8. I think this is about where he finishes again. There might be a little bit of room, but he is not that he's just a volume play, but he's not as explosive as a Tyreek Hill, a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase, even Cooper Kupp, right? Like, and AJ Brown had some big plays. So I do think that this is where he finishes overall, and I'm okay with that. He is a great wide receiving asset. If you go running back in the first round, follow that up with Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have a nice little tandem there to start. He runs a complete route tree. He does see targets in the red zone. Not necessarily. It's hard for him to get targeted as much in the 5, right? Inside the 5, he doesn't see those targets, but 10 and out, he does see a lot of those. So that's kind of his sweet spot, is that 20 to 10 yards out is where you'll see those Amon-Ra St. Brown targets. But once they get inside the 5, those targets disappear a little bit. Part of it's because they start hunting for tight ends and some wide receivers with bigger frames. And part of it is last year the Lions decided to run the ball so much with Jamal Williams that those targets weren't available inside the 5. They played it safe. They wanted to make sure they came away with points. And more often than not, Jamal Williams was able to move that pile. So that's the one downside. But overall, if you're starting a redraft league and Amon-Ra is your number one wide receiver going into that, you can feel good about that. It is consistent targets week in and week out. Him and Jared Goff have a really strong, really good connection. And even with all these other pieces, right, with Marvin Jones coming back, with Jahmyr Gibbs coming in, with drafting Sam Laporta, like there's other weapons around, but I don't think that eats into what Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to do. I think his stat line is going to be very similar this coming season to what it was last year, give or take, the fluctuation and slight fluctuation and mix up between catches, yards, and touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, the 2 years that he's given us, he has been roughly around 100 catches. Big jump up in targets in year 2 from year 1, but we're talking, 120 to 146. Yards went up by about 200 yards. Average was up by about a yard. Touchdowns were roughly the same. So, look at what we see is what we get with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, Jared Goff still average, air yards per target is still incredibly low. Amon-Ra tends to catch the ball about anywhere from 4 to 6 yards off the line of scrimmage and then add on, 5 yards of yak onto that thing. So, Kevin made the point earlier that he's not a super explosive guy, but Jared Goff isn't also that guy that's going to force the ball down the field and throw the ball down really throw the ball down the field to it. He's going to dink and dunk, and Amon-Ra kind of fits right into that. And so, Alex, you always make the point that the wide receiver is only as good as the guy throwing on the ball. Like, the guy throwing the ball wants to throw the ball right where Amon-Ra is running, and where Amon-Ra really does a great job running routes and doing that. So you talk about kind of the pairing up of two guys together. Like, this is one of those kind of just match made type of thing. And Amon-Ra will produce value again for you. I think that we'll probably see him finish in that back half RB or wide receiver 1 there.